Welcome to another episode of the Quilty Friends podcast. Today, my guest is my sister, Lauri Powell, and here's Johnny. Okay, welcome. Here's the camera right here. I forgot to tell you that part.
Oh, that one.
That little green light.
Oh,
so
okay.
It helps if you just, I like to imagine just looking at the camera. And hi, welcome to another episode of the Quilty Friends podcast. This time it is episode of the Quilty Sibling podcast. So I have my sister Lauri here. Hi.
Hi.
So Lauri is my oldest sister, and yeah, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm not that much older.
No, just barely, just
way
slightly older.
actually.
No,
Yeah,
we're all getting older. Luckily, I just say it's better than the alternative.
That's right.
So Lauri, hi. Thanks for coming up.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
I know. Well, she's a little bit nervous about this, but I like to just pretend that it's just me and you. There's just a camera. We can see ourselves. So you always make sure your hair looks fine. It's fine.
Okay, that's good.
And after a minute, you'll just go, this is nothing. So it's just us two talking. That's all it is.
Okay.
That's all it is. Two siblings having a conversation.
That's weird.
And I like it because it's side by side, so you don't have that weird facing each other energy that can happen. So that's why I like this style.
Okay.
How do we know each other? You're my sister. How old were you when I was born?
12.
12? Wow.
So I was like your second mother.
She was literally like my second mother. My favorite picture is, you probably know, sleeping on the couch, taking a nap together.
Oh, and you're just on top of me.
Yeah.
Right, and I think we had been jump roping or something. I've been trying to teach you how to jump rope or something. We were just both tired. But
anyway, it's the cutest picture. So I don't know how old I was, little, hanging out and just laying on her chest, asleep.
It just sounds,
Yeah, it's a really cute picture. So
cute. Yeah,
what'd you think about me when I came along? What'd you think?
I don't know. We all thought it was great. We all worshiped the ground you walked on. I remember you going with some of the older brothers, and you would stand next to them on the seat, and as they would drive the car, you would stand there. You'd put your arm on their shoulder, and they would drive a car and have you right beside them. You'd be standing up next to them.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. You were a favorite.
Well, still am.
Yeah, still things
am.
don't change. Things do not change.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to have Lauri on my podcast to talk about her work on her mission with the people of the Navajo Nation. But we're going to get to there in a minute. Okay. So first we want to talk about a little bit about you. Okay. So people can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So I like to ask people, what are you reading / watching or listening to right now?
Wait, there was another one.
Oh.
I want to do the first one.
Which one?
Oh, no. Okay, that's the first. Okay.
That's the first one.
What are you reading, watching, or listening to? Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah, do you have what are you listening to?
Oh, you know what? I'm always listening to I listen to news and I listen to podcasts like self-help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of into self-help things.
Love that.
But the last one, I just watched a Netflix last night on David Beckham.
Oh, the Beckham.
And I found it really just kind of interesting to see how he's really meticulous.
Oh, really?
He shows his closet and all the hangers. Oh, I guess someone's been in here, and he straightens a hanger.
Oh my God.
And he has all his clothes perfectly aligned and by color and by style, and everything in his drawers are all perfect. And you just don't think sometimes that a person like that, like a professional athlete, famous, whatever, would be so concerned about that kind of a thing, because that's just me. And it talks about what makes Dave kind of thing.
Oh, so I love that.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's just a quick watch on Netflix, and in one evening I was able to finish a quilt while I did it. So while I watched it. So
did you bring the quilt you were working on?
No, I should have.
Dang.
No, it was just a little simple.
Which one?
That square thing that I keep doing, the 5-inch squares,
so it's
and you
a
put them in
5-inch square plus pattern from my girlfriend's quilt shop.
Yes,
Not to them.
And I have done so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did one for Jack's mom. Is that
No,
the same?
that
Oh,
was a
different
different pattern
Okay.
that I used, the Rifle Paper Company fabric.
I'll put a link to that pattern on my girlfriend's website so people can see it. It's really cute. It just makes a lot of pluses. And I've always wanted to make a plus quilt, but I don't know, not like that for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I should try it.
It goes together super easy, and it kind of looks fun when you're finished.
Right.
And then I always put a border on it.
Yeah.
And one of them, I put like a triple border on it. And so, because I was just trying to use up all the fabric that I had.
Was that the
left.
Cafe one?
The Cafe scraps.
Oh man, you guys, she made the Cafest Cafe quilt there, whatever was. It's
and I
awesome.
made two.
You made two?
Because I made one that was just scrappy log cabin.
Oh yeah.
But then I made another one that was the squares plus. And yeah, I was just trying to get rid of all that. And I used every bit. Like the end of them, I sold them all together and used them for a border. And then I used them and I cut that border in half and I used it for the binding.
I love that.
So I used every single scrap now? On my floor. I haven't finished.
Oh, you're not done
because I hand do them.
Okay, we should just show pictures sometime.
Oh,
we'll post a picture online.
Yeah, the cave was kind of fun. Because just lots of wild.
I love colors. The cave. Oh, so I just saw this is kind of funny. The cave and his partner Brandon, they're in the Oregon area right now. They're just touring a bunch of quilt shops, and they went to one and they said, "Oh, this wall, the outside wall of the shop was kind of boring." So they painted a big old quilt square on it, like just when there's spare time. Yeah, they're like, well, I thought this needs something. We thought this needed a little bit of decoration. Yeah, so they showed like this giant, huge, like lot of the triangles. Anyway, the triangles. Like we made all those quilts for the girls. The little pinwheels. Yeah. So these giant pinwheel quilt pattern on the wall. And anyway, it's really cool. So Cave and his husband Brandon, they're just amazing. Don't you just love their fabrics?
I love the one place that I went to, Quilter's Lodge. They have like a wall of his stuff, every bit of his stuff. Yeah. So I love seeing all the different, just so many different like things that you don't think go together, but they do. I love that.
And I haven't made one with his fabrics yet. I've incorporated.
You gave me those scraps. Didn't you give me some scraps?
I did.
From someone else.
Probably.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It was great.
Anyway, shout out to Lisa and Robin and all the friends down at Quilter's Lodge.
Oh, good. Yeah. Because I need to go there. Tomorrow I'm going there to get some blue fabric to finish another quilt.
I actually have some blue fabric. I'm not sure if you know. Maybe we should go shopping in Johnny's
I'll see if I can go shopping.
Lodge
so I want
first.
to buy it.
My goodness gracious. Okay, so Lauri is the magic behind a lot of things in my life. Quilting, like when I started quilting, you're the one that showed me how to sew.
Oh, yeah.
Like she had just started into quilting with a neighbor, and she had a new Bernina Quilter's Edition sewing machine. So I would go over to her house and use that. And my friends had bought me a sewing machine from Walmart, and I was just like, this does not compare to Bernina. So that's why I got that Bernina that I had.
And now it's not the end all, you know that.
I know. So, now I have the juicy to know me. Oh my God. And you want one so bad, that black one. Oh, yeah. We really need to create a way to get that in our lives.
I don't know. We'll see. After the house is finished.
Okay, let's talk about that really quickly. So what are you're building a house?
Yeah. So my husband has a bucket list item that he needs to cross off. He's always wanted to build a rammed earth house. And it's like you take dirt and concrete and you put it in layers. And if you Google rammed earth, RAMMED, earth, there's some beautiful pictures of what those houses look like. And so we're almost ready to pour the slab. So we have foundation, footings, all the plumbing is in.
So you pour the slab first, and then build the walls around it.
Put the walls on top of the slab.
Oh my gosh. It's seriously the pictures I've seen of it are so gorgeous.
Yeah, it's super modern. It'll be modern looking, although modern, it's better.
But it's in Blanding, Utah.
Yeah, so we're about 6 acres.
6 acres.
And so we're kind of being homesteaders.
Well, I think it's awesome. And you're gonna eventually have like Airbnb, right?
Yeah, we're putting 2 casitas on with it so that we can have Airbnb.
Can host quilting retreats down in Blanding, Utah.
Well,
can you imagine?
That it's just so gorgeous down there, and the air is clean. And it's kind of out there, but sometimes it's like, it's kind of nice to be out of the city.
Oh yeah, totally.
Out of the traffic. So we're looking forward to that.
So they're in the middle of building that right now, down in Blanding, Utah, of all the things.
Of all the things.
Okay, so let's talk about, what is your earliest memory of making?
I had thought about this. Mom. And so our mother was just so creative. And I just think of creative. She was always sewing clothes for us. And I remember it's the sewing thing, but one thing that really sticks out in my mind is her and my dad were in charge of they were like these stake dance directors, the youth, to teach the youth how to ballroom dance. And my mom and dad were dancers.
They were dancers.
And so they were in charge of this big dance, the yearly dance, the Golden Green Ball, it was called. It's so interesting because I've thought about this lately when we've talked about making. And my sister gave me a little Ziploc the other day with some old pictures. And in it, there was a little teeny green booklet. And it was like the program thing for that dance. It was called the Emerald City, was the name of the theme of the dance.
Not Susie's Car of the Emerald City.
No,
that's different.
That's different. Emerald City. So, and in it had all the, like, what each ward, contributed, who did the sound for the dance. And then my mom and dad were the lead. They were like they were in charge.
They were in charge.
But so my mother
in charge of the costumes.
The costumes, but the decorations.
Oh, the decorations.
And so this is what stands out in my mind, making the decorations for that dance. And I don't know if anybody has ever, we just did stuff at our house that I just don't know if other people did.
Right.
Like the little teeny pieces of wood that you would soak in water and then weave it into a basket. We did that. Yes. I don't know if it was in school.
Underwater, I can't remember. I talked about it last time. So people laughed at me and I said, no, I'm serious.
No, really. It was like, I don't know what that's called. I'm sure it's called something. The wood sticks that you soak.
Underwater basket weaving.
Anyway, she got the little they're not bamboo. They're just wood
sticks.
She got these. We soaked them. She had round styrofoam balls and we stuck them in and bent them around. Then they were big.
To make a chandelier?
No, to make flowers.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then we glued green tissue paper onto the edges of all these and cut it out. And then the little ball in the middle was painted yellow. And her vision, and I'm sure it was perfect, but I didn't get to go. I didn't get to see the end result because I wasn't old enough. But I remember making these, and her vision was, then they had lights on the floor that shone up through these big flowers. And so they were glowing because the light came through the tissue paper. So it was like dark green and light green. And so everything was green because it was the Emerald City.
The golden green ball.
Yeah. So the gold balls with the green.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my first vision of making something with my mom, is making those flowers.
Making that.
And her going, oh no, you have to cut it even. You can't be scrappy around the edge. And so that was one of my first.
It's kind of funny to think of where we got our perfectionist tendencies, because there was a little bit of that going on, but not perfection, but it had to be right. Like I think we got that from mom and dad. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what,
and especially when you make something, if you cut something uneven and you sew it uneven, it's going to be uneven in the end. So be making sure how all the seams need to match.
Yeah.
And it comes easy to me. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm going to talk about my favorite memory of them was the dance spectacle they put on in Woods Cross with the blue costumes.
Oh yeah. Mom
remember that?
Yeah.
So they put on this, I don't know what
it was like red, white, and blue. It was something patriotic.
Yeah. It was in the summertime. It was outdoor. And it was a dance spectacular of some sort because every ward did a different dance style, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or they all learned the same dance or something. I don't know.
They did have one dance that everybody did, but they had a lot of individual, and people did certain kinds of dance.
And I just remember the theme was everyone was wearing these blue dresses that my mom would spend hours and hours sewing.
And I have done that a few times.
And then I think about the creativity, like for Roadshow one year, our ward was cards, and she made all these card front and back, like king, queen, ace,
like playing cards.
Cards, and they were like basically quilted because they were fabric. Anyway, she was out of control.
She was really creative.
But then I think about you and costuming. So this person here also crazy imagination with your costuming, and I think about the girls ballet. When you did talk about the girls ballet, you did the seed pods that opened up.
Oh yeah, they had little things on their face, little brown petals on their face, and then they were satin pink on the inside. So when they came up and for their dance, they pushed these up, and then they were pink satin flowers. And I don't know, things like that. I just love creating stuff like that. But I think like we've done Tigger with a slinky in the tail with a tennis ball on the bottom. So as they walked down trick-or-treating, the tail was bouncing.
And that year, they were all upcycled sweatshirts.
Yeah, everything was out of the sweatshirt. But
you could probably do a demo of that right now, and people would go bonkers.
Yeah, you just get a serger, and you just keep serging off the edges until it fits. But I think we made Eeyore, and all the seams were on the outside of gray sweatshirts out of Eeyore.
Gray sweatshirt seams on the outside.
Yeah, so that was all Winnie the Pooh year. But yeah. So, I think that the most fun one was a few years ago. My daughter goes, "Mom, I want to make this porcupine costume," and I was like, "What?" And it was from the movie Sing, and what's her name? The little girl, Ash. Yeah, she's the little girl that's the rock and roll
girl.
So she wanted her little 3-year-old to be
time out really quick. Laurie had 5 girls.
Oh yeah.
So 5 girls all in matching costumes or themed costumes each year, if you can imagine that. Most of the time. Sometimes they didn't want to be themed. That's fine. Yeah. So anyway, Whitney, the oldest, has 2 girls. And that's the oldest one is Eliza. Yeah. So anyway, keep going about the Ash
she costume. Wanted to be, because what was Benny? He was Mr.
Benny was the mouse.
The mouse man. Mr. I can't remember his name. From Sing. And then Eliza was Ash. And so when he goes, "Mom, I need to make this porcupine. What can I use for the quills?" And I'm like, I don't know. I had to think, because she was going to make a headdress. And I said, "What about pencils or something?" But I said, "No, it has to be lightweight, because this little 3-year-old's going to walk down the street." She used drinking straws. That's what we figured out.
And spray painted
them. She spray painted them with straw. She laid them out, spray painted with stripes, and then she sewed them into a headdress. And so Eliza walked down the street,
the sidewalk,
and they were kind of like, they would bounce and they would make a click of quills. It was so cute. It turned out so great. She was
how old? 3?
Yeah, she was 3.
So
cute. And then she had like the little sunglasses and the little red sparkly coat or something. I can't remember, but I don't know. I just feel like sometimes using like those. She went to Costco, bought the 1,000 box of straws. She had Benny unwrapping all the straws. But I think sometimes just finding things like that to use on,
like upcycling, repurposing.
Yeah. I think it's just it's kind of like really satisfying to me.
It's a rush.
It's weird.
It's not weird. Yeah. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry,
let's make sure that you're in frame. That's why I just make sure. Okay, we're definitely in frame. Kate.
Yeah.
No, costumes. So,
and I really, like, I've already told all my kids, no, if something happens to my husband, my dream was to sell everything and move to New York and work in a costume shop.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
So she just applied at Hale Center Theater in the costume shop.
Yeah. So maybe
we haven't heard anything back yet. As a dresser.
A dresser. But at least I would be in with the costumes. You still get to sew a little bit and make sure they're clean.
So I asked my friends if anybody knew someone at Hale Theater, and my friend, cute was worked there forever. I can't remember her name, of course. Thank you. I know you guys who know me well. She said, "Oh, I talked to somebody." She said the sewing knowledge is the biggest thing. So being able to sew, hand sew, machine sew, serge, So
I can do all that.
You've got it.
I can handle it. Yeah.
So if you're listening, anyone at the Hale Center Theater costume shop, Lauri here is ready to work, and
I just think
uber talented.
Yeah,
I would love to do that as well. That's like another. That's why I like the coats. The quilt coats.
The coats. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe I could send some quilt coats home with you, and
I can work on those.
Yeah, I'm not really good at finishing, as you may know.
That's okay. Somebody has.
I'm really good at starting.
Someone has to be the finisher.
I'm a really good cheerleader.
That's okay. Yeah.
She's finished a lot of stuff for me. So shout out to that, especially like Quilt Con Quilt. I mean, that wouldn't have happened without you. The Quilt Con, the gray,
that's right.
50 Shades of Gray quilt at my friend Rebecca's. So many times you've saved my bacon. So thank you.
Hey, I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
I appreciate that. Okay. So next question. Was there a specific event that you noticed that making helped you out with your mental health? Or do you remember a time when making, and if not, that's fine.
It's just recently, really. The quilt thing.
You've really taken off with the piecing.
Yeah, I do. And this sounds kind of morbid, but I really kind of enjoy being by myself sometimes in the house, in my pajamas. I wake up, maybe have breakfast, but maybe just go and sometimes I brush my teeth, but maybe just go in and just sew.
And do you listen to anything? Is that
sometimes I watch I watched Emma. I'm sorry, that's just that Emma, Persuasion.
Persuasion.
I watch all those just over and over again because you can kind of have that little, how the story goes.
It's such good music. That's why I love those.
Yeah, and it's just relaxing, and that's kind of what I do right now.
I almost married once. Oh. So if you haven't watched Persuasion on Netflix,
that's a good one.
Give it a plug.
The
there.
Emma one too.
Emma's
so good. And I love the costuming in that one.
Oh yeah.
Some of those
those costumes. Well, wait, have you watched Bridgerton?
Yeah, some of that costuming too. So gorgeous.
Those fabrics, don't you just go, where could I find some fluorescent green brocade like that?
Right. Yeah, the costuming of some of those are phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. What do you do for self-care? So.
Okay, this is another morbid thing. I mean, because I'm
saying morbid.
Well, because it's like I'm home alone, and some people think it's really weird that you just want to stay home inside, not go anywhere. Don't open the blinds. Well, sometimes open one blind to let the sun come on the plants.
It sounds like a dream
sometimes
to me.
I just don't. I just feel like it's very therapeutic for me to just be home within my own thoughts, thinking and sewing. And I guess that's, I mean, I don't really care for myself because I don't know. Sometimes I do brush my teeth, but
that's like meditation right there.
Yeah,
that's what
I think just the being, and I have set a goal to turn off my phone for 1 hour a day.
Oh.
Because I feel like
especially in that, you get distracted so easily. With
too hooked in. Yeah.
It's great that your daughters call you a lot.
Some do more than others.
Right, but it's great that you have that. Right?
No, I do love when they call me, and I just will. Usually, I'll just drop anything to be able to chat with them. They're really that. They're not. I just think that they came to this earth the way they were. I didn't do very much. I think what I didn't do too much to mess them up.
Well, that's.
I mean, they would venture to say that's different because they go, "Oh, we're all in therapy, Mom." I'm like, well, you just go ahead and go to therapy. Normal. But I did my best. But
everyone is doing the best they can with what they have.
That's right. But really, 5 girls that really they want to do. A lot of them want to do good in the world and change, like women's health. There's three of them in women's health care. Well, no, 2 in women's health care. 1 in what would you call that? Equine therapy. So she's working with special needs children and people and PTSD soldiers, things like that. So she's trying to make a difference in the world. Rosie wants to be in psychology, but she's graduating in English. So, but she's really into, she's kind of into
in a band now.
Oh yeah, she's in two rock bands.
So they just released their second single. I haven't heard it yet.
I haven't either. Oh. Don't tell her.
Love you, Rosie.
Yeah. So, and then Isabel's in design.
Oh, and Isabel living my dream life of going to Amsterdam and spending a month designing a chair and building it. Yeah. Hold on, that was like my dream.
That was a study abroad. She did crazy stuff. But she's teaching sewing in Park City. She teaches little girls to sew.
She's the one that bought a sewing school when she was 18. 19. She bought a sewing school with like 60 kids or whatever. I mean, how many do they have?
Yeah.
Tons of kids, fully established. And she's like, I can do this. So
she goes, should I buy this sewing school? And I go, well, how much? I go, you have that much in your savings account. Do it. Just go.
Do it.
Yeah.
So I just love, I love them all.
Yeah. So she just graduated in design and she makes like patterns. She looks at pictures of drawings of design. And then she makes the patterns for that design,
for what? Furniture? Or
no, well, this
clothing?
is like the other day she was working on a backpack.
Oh, backpack.
She took a drawing of a backpack and she's making the pattern for it. And so that's kind of me.
Right there.
Well, so that and I have that ability to be able to look at something and then figure out how to put it on paper and design the curves and stuff like that. And that
was Mom too.
Yeah, our mother.
Do you ever get old Terry?
Yeah, and her dad too. He kind of like could just look at something.
My Jared can do anything. My mom would say, "Oh, my Jared can fix anything." And my Jared can fix anything, and he can. And he's like,
yeah, he always was able to just look at a problem and figure out, oh, I have a solution for that. Like, remember, I don't know if you worked at the music store when somebody came in and they were going to be in a concert. And she wanted to be able to stand up and play her cello, but she really didn't have a way for it to. She goes, my
stand up that
to lean, the thing would come out far enough, but she needed something to be able to lean it against her, or lean it against her leg or something. Mm-hmm. And she just came in and someone said, "Oh, go to Bountiful Music, and that guy will help you figure something out." And so he came in. She came in, brought her cello, told it, and he goes, "Oh, I have the perfect thing in my back." He goes, "Come back in a couple of hours and bring your cello with you." And so he went in the back and he had like a piece of metal, like a fitting that you would use if you were going to play a drum and march with a drum. And it was something that went up against someone's thigh. Against their thigh, yeah, it would hit the thigh. Well, he just fashioned something with a piece of metal and went it back and bent it, and then was able to hook it into her cello so she could lean it against her. And so, and then he didn't charge her for it. I go, "Oh, you," and she was coming from Idaho and on her way somewhere else to play or something. And so, I don't know. I was just seeing things like that in my life. And I love when we can, and I think we all have that ability sometimes if we just search for it. Yeah. An ability to be with it. To look for a way to solve a problem and use your hands. Yeah. Making is so important. And it is. I just really feel like the creativity for everyone. And if you think, "Oh, I'm not creative," if you're alive, you're creative. That's and they say that we all have the ability if we will sometimes you just have to try something. Yeah. I call it just being bothered by it. You just have to be in it with it for long enough, And my favorite quote was from Frank Gehry, the architect, and he was that movie, that documentary they made about him. It was directed by Sidney Pollack, and the first question he asked is starting hard? And he said, "Oh, it is." And I have that same thing. You have this project in mind, and it's like, I'm going to get the chills, but you just have to let it eat at you enough to go, okay, now I'm ready to start and do it, Mm-hmm. And that's what I think is so, I don't know, not necessarily like not being used enough, but I think people nowadays just want the quick fix, Yeah. It's all about, what's the quick fix? How can I make this faster, quicker, faster? Yeah. I think too, there's I don't know. Sometimes you just have to jump off the ledge kind of thing. And that it can be scary, but I think none of us would get anywhere unless we just kind of put a little effort, like kind of past what we think we can do.
Yeah. Like in that Indiana Jones movie, when he steps into the unknown, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I just think it's so important.
Dad calling me.
And
I'll call him back.
Oh, you call him. And I think sometimes if you don't feel like you have that in you, you find a friend who will push you into it. I think that's the thing I'm grateful for, because you kind of pushed me to the piecing and the quilting. Oh, because I really wasn't. I don't know. You didn't. I still am not.
I think you're too much of a perfectionist. Like, because you kept talking about a certain person that you were like learning from, and like it has to be this way and it has to be this way, kind of thing,
Well, and then I have met other quilters since then.
Right.
And I've been so grateful, because one friend, she goes, "Why are you pinning all of that?" And she goes, "Don't you know you sold by Braille?" And I go, exactly. "What?" And she goes, and she's gotten older and her fingers aren't as sensitive, but she says, you just feel of where those two seams need to match and just sew. She goes, "Don't pin.
That's why I worry about the diabetes. Because you start to lose feeling in your fingers. Oh. So that's why we're taking good care of our blood sugars.
I do. Because that worries me too. But the pinning, I don't know. I can't remember what we were about.
Just like letting go of some of those rules. Like, you don't have to pin every seam. Yeah. Yes, pinning is great if you want, or if you're doing something for something. But for normal everyday, you can just feel the seam when it's together.
Feel when it's together. And so that's kind of been, I've been glad that I've met certain people that have taught me a lot of things.
Sorry, I didn't tell you that. I apologize.
Oh, yeah. Like Paulette. Her name's Paulette. Paulette Adams, my friend. She's the quilter. She owned the quilt shop up in Heber for a while.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Or no, her friend did.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's get onto that right now. How about we talked about what you're working on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your work down in your mission. Let's switch to your mission.
Oh, okay. So we shouldn't have gone on a mission. We weren't prepared, but Doug was sick of his job, and he just said, "I just am so tired of this job." I had just sold business and was kind of like, okay, it wasn't my thing, and I just wanted to be done. And so I was so grateful to be finished with that project. And so one day and I said, "We should go on a mission." And so I had been when I was younger, but Doug never had gone. And I always promised him when we got older, we would go. Well, things have happened now, and so I know why we went. But so we decided to go. We said we'll take a sabbatical, because we really should work.
Not liking the job.
Well, and we should have worked longer for our retirement and things like that. But so I call him out of the blue, and I go, "I'm just driving in the car," and I said, "I just kind of feel like we should just sell the house and just be done and go on a mission." And he goes, "I'm thinking the same thing." And I said, and our kids had kind of been moving out. We had one daughter left, and she was going to move to Nashville. And so I said, "Well, we'll just send her earlier." We'll just send her a little bit. We'll just send her a few months early. And so it all worked out fine. But so we decided to go, and we wanted to go to Africa so bad.
They had in their mind,
we are going to Africa. We had talked to a mission president in Africa, and that's where we were going. He goes, "Just let me know when your paperwork is done. They'll tag your account, and you'll come to Africa and be in work in Ghana." There's 5 countries, I think, in the mission down there where we were going to go. But we waited for a call.
And waited.
And waited.
And waited. And waited.
And then we got called to Edmonton, Canada.
Edmonton, Alberta, Canada mission.
Yeah. Not on our list of fun. But you know what? Things happen for a reason. So Doug was he was so upset.
It was like a faith crisis, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because for days he just thought, "Where is Edmonton, Africa?" He couldn't figure it out. And so, so we went to, and I said one day, "You know what, maybe I'm supposed to teach someone to sew, or maybe you're supposed to teach someone how to do a business in, the kind of business you do." I said, "Maybe there's something that we have that we can give to these people." Well, we are not teachers, but we were called to work with kids that were in college, kids that were in high school, kids were in junior high, and kids in elementary school. And we went there to work on a Cree reserve. That's what it's called up in Canada. It's not called the reservation like in the United States. It's called the reserve. And the Cree people are very close to the Dene or the Navajo. And we just got to know these people, and we just learned to love them so much. And the youth are looking for people to guide them and direct them and to help pull them out of, they have really like kind of sad stories of their past, and they have a lot of generational trauma that they're trying to heal from. And so it was really just very fulfilling to be with them and help them in that way. So, but then we worked in Canada for a year, and then they said, oh, will you go down and work on the Navajo Nation and do the same thing that we were doing up there with the youth? And so we went to the Four Corners area and worked with in high school there, and we got to know these people at the Bluff Fort. And so then we finished during COVID. We just delivered food out on the res, which was awesome. It was the most fun we've ever had. Just going in our truck, just going over these, they give you GPS coordinates and try to tell you where to go on the res. And we met the most awesome people. And to take food to these trailers where there's little kids that are really hungry, and they're like, oh, what did you bring for us? And I try to have fruit snacks or something with me to give them just immediately. But it was just so, you just never know when you're going to be put in a position when you can do something for someone that they can't do for themselves. And I think that was the most awesome thing, is that we were able to just give food. But then they said, oh, it's too dangerous. You have to go home now. So anyway, then we went back and worked at the Bluff Fort. And the Bluff Fort is a visitor center, and it's taught we teach about the pioneers that went through the hole in the rock, and then they landed at Bluff. And it is an awesome story. And if you ever need a fun place to go down by the Four Corners area, you've got to go, just because it's a great afternoon of information, fun. This beauty is unmatched. The weather down there is so nice for, they have a lot longer summer. You can go early, and there's a beautiful balloon festival in January down there. It's in Valley of the Gods.
I didn't know that. Down
by Monument Valley. It is just gorgeous down there. And I had never been. We live in Utah, but have we ever been to the very corner of Utah? No. So it was really a really great experience.
You drive through Four Corners on your way to Albuquerque.
Yeah, well, kind of. You have to take the side road.
Oh, okay.
But it's just
she lived in Albuquerque for a time.
Yeah.
That's why. I don't know.
Yeah, so it was gorgeous. But then the fun thing that we got to do was go back and work there at the Bluff Fort. And down there they make things.
Yeah. So I said, well, did you bring anything that you made? And she said, no. So I just gathered things from the house that she bought.
One of the men made these little, it's like a Swedish butter knife or something. But I use them on butter, and I just wipe it off with a paper towel. Yeah. And I have a little one and a big one, and I love these.
I don't use mine ever.
You don't use it? Oh, and you should just wash it. You should always use it. Use it with butter, always.
Okay.
Or spread or something. And then they made little, there's people that would just make, crochet. And then this,
I love this.
You have to tell me you don't know what to do with the seams of all the denim. There you go. A trivet.
A trivet.
And then the men would make these great cutting boards. I mean, they're just making down there all the time. And I kind of got them making more quilts, because they weren't really making very many quilts.
And you said the quilts were selling well.
Oh, right? The quilts are selling great. Yeah, you can't. The people, people come from out of town, and I think they still sell them for too cheap. But the women down there are piecing, and then they machine quilt them usually. But
you had a sweatshop going.
Well, I don't like to call it a sweatshop. But
it's not a sweatshop.
But that's what someone came in one day and said, this looks like a sweatshop. And they go, oh, no. We're all loving it. We're all
everyone. No one's sweating. It's very well hydrated.
No. And the women down there it is the most fulfilling, happy place for older women. Because I think that sometimes as we get older and our kids go away, we sometimes I think we lose our purpose,
Yeah.
And we had one woman come down there and she was so cute. And she just didn't really have a lot of self-confidence. No, two women I can think of this. They just didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They're like, oh no, I'm not really a sewer. And one of the gal that did the sewing room, she said, oh, I'm going to teach you to sew. And so then she had a Bernina.
Mm-hmm.
She brought a Bernina with her that her sister had given her. And she had her making the cozies.
Mm-hmm.
You start with a 10-inch square with batting. You sew an X through it. You sew little
darts.
the little darts, and then you sew it together and turn it right side out, and you're done. It's just like a little thing to like put a hot bowl of soup in, or coal. Yeah, and we made big ones for. Somebody came and bought like a dozen of them. And she goes, oh, when we have Thanksgiving dinner, everything has a cozy and you were able to pass all the food around the table. And I was like, oh, I never thought of that.
I didn't think of that one.
I know. So anyway, it was fun to watch older women that felt they didn't have a talent or purpose, learn to sew in their 70s or 80s and find joy in the making. Mm-hmm. And then one gal, she says, can I just take a bunch of fabric home and I will make it and then I'll send it back. And so they would just learn to have joy in making.
Yeah.
And they had never done it before. They were like, oh no, I can, but they had never sewn. Right. So they were not seamstress, but now they are. And they found so much their confidence, and I don't know. And I think being with other women too was really fulfilling for them, because a lot of times, I don't know. I think my mother did this. She didn't have a lot of girlfriends, but she went everywhere with my dad. Mm-hmm. And it was all about his stuff that he wanted to do. And so she just was always tagging along. But I think about the fulfillment of hanging out with, like Doug was with all these men.
Right.
And they would do projects together.
The men were all building.
Yeah, and they were like doing
boards.
Yard work, or they were out working on the camp that they had. But all these men just found this unity in working together, and I just feel like that is something we're missing sometimes in our because we're so busy.
The quilting bee, the old-fashioned quilting bee.
And I just feel like women hanging out with women and giving each other support, and the same with the men, being able to be making. They are making, for sure. They're being makers, but they just kind of grow this community of, you're great, and you're doing great.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't get that enough in our life. Yeah. So, I mean, and I think of some of the girls we would meet in these, the Navajo girls. And we used to teach a self-help, it was like an 8-class course on just kind of being more like a self-reliance kind of life skills. And I remember talking to a group of girls one day, and I go, does anyone ever tell you how beautiful you are and how gorgeous your skin and your dark eyebrows and your hair? You're just so gorgeous. And they all look at each other and go, no one ever tells us that.
Right.
And I go, oh, that's just tragic to me. So I would try to tell them, I said, oh, your eyebrows are just gorgeous today. Things like that. I don't think that we all give enough of it.
Yeah.
Or get enough of it.
Right. And I think it's a learned behavior. I think it has to be taught. I'm working now at the food bank, Utah Food Bank. I want to give a plug for that. But we have these youth groups come in. And the other night we had 2 young women groups together from different wards. So there was like 12 girls from this ward and 12 girls from this ward. And I was nervous because we had a small number for that project. We were doing, we were doing the other one. It was packing boxes. I'll talk about bean soup in a minute. We were packing boxes, and these girls were so cute. As people came through the line, they'd go, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite song? Who's your favorite song artist? Do you like Taylor Swift? I mean, we had Taylor Swift playing, and someone's wearing their Taylor Swift t-shirt. So, and these girls, but they just were, every time I'd hear them say this to other girls, oh, I just love your t-shirt. That is so cute. Oh, I love your glasses. I'm like, someone's teaching these kids very well. To be complimentary and kind. And it's definitely needed in this world for sure.
Yeah, there's enough negative out there.
Yeah, there's plenty.
We don't need any of that.
Okay, Utah Food Bank is my new home away from home sometimes. So
I want some of those.
You can buy one, or I can get some for you.
I can buy some.
I have an in.
No, I want to buy some and give them to for gifts.
So one of the projects we do at the Utah Food Bank is called Bean Soup. So I started working at Utah Food Bank. I'm just doing part-time in the evenings, and I just love it. So I'm called a volunteer coordinator. So when people volunteer to come in, we're the ones that run the project and set it up and tear it down and organize it and stuff. And it's fun because I just get to be silly and goofy, but we're still doing a good thing. That's what I really like is it has a cause. Yeah. And I'm working. I do love that about it. So one of the projects we do is called Bean Soup. They put this together. There's 8 different beans and legumes, barley, lentils, black beans, and then it comes with a little spice mix. I haven't made it yet because I already have soup in the fridge, so I'm gonna wait till. But anyway, this is available for $5 on Utah Food Bank. Perfect for a
neighbor gift.
A neighbor gift for Christmas. Is coming up.
I love that.
And or if you wanted to start, I did my neighbor gifts like in 1 year. I did all my neighbor gifts in October just to get them out of the way, and I didn't have to worry about it in December. So
I like that.
Anyway, this I think this cost us $1 something. I was trying to find out the real number, but I think it costs us like $1 something to make these, and then we have volunteers come together, but we sell them for $5. So that all that money goes to the food bank.
To the food bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
awesome. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put the link in the comments, but if not, I was gonna just put this up really quick, and I didn't save it. Of course.
Here we are trying to. I'm glad that you know how to do this.
This is usual for people that have watched me before.
Okay, I love that.
So www.utahfoodbank.org. If you just search bean soup, and if you can't find it, I'll put it in the link in the comments or the show notes. Again, just a quick reminder that this podcast is available here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts now. So Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
I am impressed that you are.
It's amazing.
Being found on the outreach.
I'm working on it. Yeah. So I would love your support of Bean Soup from Utah Food Bank. I'm going to give that little plug. And if you just don't want a bean soup, you just want to donate, we love your support of the Utah Food Bank there as well. You can donate because you can donate on Venmo. Utah Food Bank donations on Venmo.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. Or if you go to our website, you can. I just asked that if people sign up for like a monthly donation, you can download. You can sign up for your credit card to be run monthly for $5.
Oh, good.
I mean, who's gonna miss that, right?
No one will miss $5.
Maybe someone.
There
might be a couple people.
Not very many people.
There's been times in my life when I would miss $5, but not right now.
I know, but sometimes when it comes out of your account,
exactly,
you kind of just forget about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Why do I only have? Oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for that. That's where I would like. Do you have I didn't ask you this before we got started. Is there a cause that you're passionate about that if everyone listening right now was to send $1 to support, where would you want it to go?
You know what? Probably the program that my daughter works for is called Courage.
Courage Reins.
Yes.
Courage Reins. It's like that, right?
No, just N. Rein.
Oh, Reins.
Yeah, like the reins.
I was not prepared, but
so she works for this.
Talk about
it's a nonprofit organization that she works for in Highland, Utah. They do equine therapy. So she's living her best life because she gets to take care of and train horses all day long. And when she's not training the horses, she is teaching the volunteers how to help those who are having therapy on the horses. Because usually when they work with a horse and a person, they have at least 3 people with that horse. One is guiding the horse, and they have one volunteer on each side of the horse. And sometimes these can be children with Down syndrome, children with some other disabilities. They do work, like I said, PTSD, soldiers. And there's just a lot of different kinds of people that come into this into their facility, and it is a gorgeous facility, but it is nonprofit, and so they can use all the help they can get always. And it is a great thing. If anyone ever wants to go tour it, you are welcome to go down there and watch.
Yeah, you can do
they have like
tours. They have all kinds of good information on their website. So it's obviously just go to couragereins.org/ways-to-give /
Oh, thank you for doing that. Yeah, I appreciate that. I like that.
Of course. I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, you said you didn't want to go too long. We've gone almost 50 minutes.
Oh dear. Do people just turn
No,
it
that's
off after
great. I don't know.
minutes?
No, heavens no. People listen to the whole thing.
Well, I just hope that I have said something that will maybe inspire someone to do more making or do good to others in the world.
Yeah.
Because that's always my, like, I wish we weren't building a house. Don't tell Doug. But I really want to just go somewhere and do something for people.
Well, and that's when I said something to you a few years ago about that you should go live in Cedar City and work at the Shakespeare Festival doing costuming. And you're like, no, I want to be closer to the Navajo people.
We really, they have a wicked history.
Right.
And it's the same in Canada as they do here. And just sad, sad history. And I think there's just so many places in the world that have this sad history, and for us to ever ignore that and not think that they have proven that there's generational trauma always being passed down. Yeah. And the more we learn about it, the more we can help these people.
Yeah.
And that's always my thought and process and goal is to help people overcome generational trauma, because I think I have a little bit of it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Totally. And hello, pioneers crossing the plains.
Well, there's just so many ways to experience trauma.
Right.
And I think sometimes if we don't pay enough attention to that, we're missing. We're missing opportunities for people to grow and become better and become happier. And I don't know, just to have a better world. World peace.
Thank you. And world peace.
And world peace, please. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not. Yeah.
And world peace.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm really glad that we did this.
I am too. And I hope that I did something like that helped you.
Of course. It was great.
I don't know. I just think being together is kind of fun too.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to do this more.
Yes.
I was going to save something, but I don't. It's fine.
You're too young for that.
I know.
I can do that, but you can't. No.
Okay. Thank you.
Go out, make something beautiful, or make the world a better place.
Yeah. Go smile for someone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
Oh,
okay. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at Johnny Barfus. Search Quilty Friends Podcast on wherever you get your podcasts. And I'd love for you to follow me. Thank you very much.